Aloha, my familia. My name is Trey Smith, and this is my channel, Trey's Myths and Tunes. And today, I'm going to talk about is unrequited love a hologramic alien mind control misery program? Boom, 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 boom. Skip a beat, lose a rhythm. Tell me, what are you gonna do? Only missed it by a fraction. Now Satan and Lucifer's club regain nearly full control of you. But don't stop ahead, don't stop behind. I gotta ease my body and hopefully your soul and mind. Do it right, here and now. It's the only moment that's 100% real. Boom. Some kind of alien must have pulled a string. I can't do a single thing but cry again. Supposed love come walking in. Some kind of alien. Today's presentation is greatly inspired and informed by Eve Lorgan and her extensive work in this subject matter. Her book, I just started on her PDF of her first book, The Love Bite, and I'm going to read the other when I'm done, The Dark Side of Cupid. Now, she did 10 years of research. She's got degrees and extensive trying to help some of these people. And what's very interesting is it was written in the Bay Area. So, this whole video is brought to you by the power of illusion. Whether cannabis is illusion or the truth, the powers of Humboldt agriculture and Santa Cruz business. But we all grew up, at least most of us in this nation, we grew up watching mainstream television and Hollywood movies. So we all grew up with their ideas, with the Dark One's ideas of what love and sex is. This has obviously been a huge tragedy for everyone that was allowing it to influence who their ideation of their self. But for me, as I've said in my previous video, my MK Ultra was obsession, Barry Gordy, and the idea of the sexual hero. Can't help myself. This is a really hard video for me to make. I hope it'll be more medicinal in that same regard. But my best friend in high school, we were put at the same table in art sculpture class. We hung out every day for 6 months with 3 hours after school, and I kept the worst thing about Sagittarius is not to put the foot in the mouth. That's the illusion. No, it's procrastination. I put it off. She ended up having sex and marrying this other man who had already been on heroin, PCP, sheets of LSD, a hardcore liquor alcoholic, etc., and gave it all up for Jesus. They're Bible thumpers, born again, and they moved to Papua New Guinea and had like 7 of their own kids and raised like 20 kids. So I was happy for them. And then it turns out her oldest daughter decided to go to school at UCLA. How about that? So for me, as someone born with musical talents, I really suffered from this terrible idea that, and this is very satanic, very MK that, and I could probably prove it to be accurate with if I had a guitar or I had the time in this video to get out my melodica and show you how my greatest compositions were often from infatuation that became unrequited love. So it's a really hard thing to let go of. If you live in this inverted culture with all these sexual misery programs that people believe, a half a mile from a university where they employ professors to teach the sexual misery. Okay, so it's a heavy, serious thing. So the question this video asks is the notion of something causing you every time you really feel passionate about someone and it's unrequited love, whether it's because they were ended up being a nasty narcissist or because of, in this case I mentioned a minute ago, because they had went off with someone else. The longing, obsession. I always wondered, is that the reason why I thought that was love? Is because it spurred my creativity, that desire for that person. And what do you think? But this really shows a deep element of suicidal impulse, or the fact that I or anyone would identify with the Motown lyrics that were disrespectful to the self. I do think that this really lends, and I've had this happen several times, more often with older friends that were actually in the right age to have heard Motown when they were young. Completely, several, not very many times, but several times, become obsessed with me, and this one might be an alien love bite, and they felt like they had to, if not date me or at least be my mommy or whatnot. But it was like this force. According to Eve Lorgan's work, it's like the force, the Zeta or whoever, the alien force. And this again, this could be all their madness and my insanity. I made this my mythology, but I don't think so. There's a force that compels people to become obsessed with the wrong person. Now, having a Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, and Mars retrograde in Leo, sure, that influenced me for the dark to try to manipulate, but they didn't know the strength of my character, my will, my respect for the Christos, and my respect for the divine light. And they didn't, so they couldn't predict that I would do this forever. Whereas maybe some of them has. I don't know. But when you think about it, when you take on this idea that you need this person, this amazing superhero, sexually awesome person with who fits your long list of Miss Right or Mr. Right, who's amazing. Well, this is the greatest like exoteric concept you could have about sex. When you think about it from the perspective of human energy or tantric or ancient Taoist sexual practice, sure, the natural ideal way is the hierogamic union where you are and your soulmate are physically embracing one. However, if you're not, a lot of us aren't mentally or spiritually, or our heart's not clear enough from narcissistic abuse to be able to attract that person. And that being the case, we have to learn how to cultivate and save our energy. So my question is it suicidal to think you need this superpower, amazing lover to take care of you, to be your everything? The idea that love must come from outside is the greatest exoteric, false, almost pretty much retarded, even though it's a half truth with these physical bodies, the yin yang. It's a spiritually and mentally retarded satanic Luciferian concept, which is really, I think, is similar to like a social sex change operation. Okay, so now that you buy this concept that you obey this inverted idea, it's like you're born in the wrong body and you got to cut off your body parts. Well, I had so many, I love so many Hollywood um, soul songs and so forth, that and movies that I had this ideation that it had to come from this amazing woman. And this even led to when I moved to Santa Cruz, the first person I thought I was in love with was a totally open bisexual from San Francisco, Sophia, who was her parents asked her to take the MCAT entrance exam to medical school. She said, if you give me some money to live in Santa Cruz, I will, because she grew up in San Francisco. And they said yes. So I actually lived with her and her only lesbian, wounded little lesbian primary girlfriend in a house in upper campus that I ended up. It was built by a man that, while he was going to UCSC, who I ended up growing cannabis with a few years later. And she was really super ideal, really fine, really beautiful, really intelligent. Um, Interestingly enough, she had the same zodiac signs as USA, and just everybody loved her. Very high IQ, really beautiful face, Italian, Latina. And I just had to accept that there was 20 people in love with her and two other guys dating her and her primary lesbian girlfriend. And so coming to the West Coast, I got used to. There was a few times when they might have been open to when I first started hanging out with them, that they might have invited me to make love, that I wouldn't say I chickened out, or I didn't want to spread my illness was part of it. But you know what? I got used to living with them, women, sexy, fine, beautiful, brilliant women I thought I was in love with, and not doing anything. So I'm not saying that's. I'm not sure whether that's discipline or repression, or can is it my Mercury and Capricorn retrograde? Can I turn discipline into repression enough for the fake authorities to want to leave me alone? So the idea of the soulmate, the perfect person, is just a huge program. Obviously, nobody is perfect. You really have to ditch the list of everything or that you want your mate to be, or be everything on the list, or or stop and have a period, a break, and do some work on yourself. No outside source of love is going to be your everything. It's an inside job, as I've said 50 times already on this channel. What helped me to heal? About 10, 11 years ago, I had a nasty love bite, and I'm not going to go into it now, but it was really nasty. And again, the way is that one of the ways. I'm just getting into the chapter. I'll have to do more videos about this, but it's a totally inappropriate person you cannot consummate, or even if you're trying to be their best friend, you can't even do that. So it's really interesting. There's a non-sexual version of the love bite, which I have to figure out how to. It's like somebody might feel like they have to be your daddy or your mommy, or another. Actually, a secondary one I've had to deal with recently was this guy who is going to help me buy the land in North Carolina. I mean, in Northern California, to grow cannabis. I'd be growing cannabis with him right now in Northern California. He's going to buy me a van. Libra rising. He really loves me. He told me I'm an enlightened master. He said when he gets his inheritance, and he has given me a couple $100 since then, here, a couple $100 here and there. But the thing is that he starts drinking the beer, and these entities. He's from Los Gatos. He's from right here, and where the interdimensional parasites are really, really thick. And he starts drinking the beer. I mentioned it on a video last week, and all of a sudden, I actually told him, you're a loving man. This parasite has no respect. So goes back to the topic of this video. Now, is it a mental Ill, or mentally are these mentally ill people, or conspiracy theorists grasping at straws, or playing the blame game, or could this be a huge thing that has happened to a lot of people? There's a lot more research out there now. So, what do you think? I'm going to talk a little more about this. Have a great day.